Here in Notre Dame in this beautiful facility, it is massive news from Ireland's perspective, from Notre Dame's perspective, that they're coming back in 2023. Why are they coming back?
Well, they're coming back because, as Jack Swarbrick, who's the chairman of athletics here, said it really well. He said, Ireland is the home of Notre Dame. It's the spiritual home of Notre Dame, and they're coming back because they want their fans to feel the energy and the welcome that we can give them back home in Dublin for this game. Also, for Notre Dame, it's a chance for them to expand their brand, not just into Ireland, but into Europe. Obviously in Ireland we feel ourselves a gateway to Europe, so it's a great spot for them to come to expand that brand.
It's really interesting because obviously when they came over in the past, you thought they're dipping their toe into the water and seeing what can happen, but to actually come back again kind of suggests that they liked what they got last time.
Yeah, I think so. I think for anyone that was in Dublin for the game in 2012, they really saw that Dublin and Ireland really embraced the game. It wasn't just a game that happened and was on for 3 hours and it was over. The whole city, we opened up our arms and we welcomed in the college bands, the high school bands that came over, and it was really a chance not just for the sporting event but for the whole community around that sporting event, and I think they really felt that. And you mentioned it's a really big, it's a really big deal for them to travel. What's even more interesting and special is that they're actually coming over for a home game. So in college football, teams will play about 8 home games a year, and that's really a chance for all the teams, for alumni, to come together and really celebrate not just the game, but everything around the game, and to move that overseas to Ireland. It's the first time it's ever happening for Notre Dame, one of the biggest names in college football, and that's really huge, and that really shows the level of the welcome that they felt last time and the level of the welcome that we're ready to give them in 2023.
How big a deal is this financially for Ireland?
It's huge. Look, obviously the tourism sector has had a difficult time over the last 18-20 months, and it's estimated that this game will bring in well in excess of 100 million into the Irish economy, 100 million euro into the Irish economy. I've heard some figures as high as 140, 150 million euro, because when folks travel, they don't just come for the game, they don't just buy a ticket for themselves, they bring family. Ireland is a place that folks in the States, they want to come and visit. You ask any American where they want to go, Ireland is always top of that list. So it's a chance for them to come in for the game, spend some time in Dublin, and then to travel right throughout the country. So we're really excited from that perspective as well.
I guess it's kind of coherent as well on a number of levels. Ireland obviously hosting the Ryder Cup, and there will be, I guess, a good degree of trying to show Americans what a good place Ireland is. Not only come to a sporting event, but as you said earlier on, spend a couple of extra days and spend a couple of extra euro in the country.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not just those individual trips. Folks come over. They come over for sport. Either for one of these games, and this game is the second in a 5-game series, the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. So there's a game happening next year in 2022 in Dublin between Northwestern, which is based in Chicago, and Nebraska, and they're coming over. Then the second game will be Notre Dame and Navy, and there'll be 3 other games after that, and we're really hoping that fans of American college football see Ireland as the home of college football internationally because of that welcome that we give. But on top of that, it's not just about the sport. Folks come over as a fan of a football team, but in their roles and in their lives, they could work in a company, they could work in a university, and they see that welcome and that connection that they get in Ireland, and they want to replicate that in other fields of their life. So it's not just positive from the money that we'll bring in from the game and from the tourism. It's all those connections, and what do those connections lead on to in future. So it really is, for us, it's win-win.
You mentioned the Northwestern Nebraska game next summer. You've been based in Chicago for the last year. It's great to be diversifying the different colleges that are associated with Ireland. Obviously, the Notre Dame link is an easy link to make. How have you found the work in terms of trying to sell coming to Dublin to people in Chicago and people from Northwestern in particular?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Look, Chicago is one of the world's great Irish cities. I think I always say to folks in Chicago, a lot of Irish folks want to be in Chicago for St. Patrick's Day. They dye their river green. And a really vibrant colour of green. So Chicago is an Irish city, and a lot of folks that would have gone through Northwestern or supporters of Northwestern would have that Irish link. And again, even if they're not Irish or Irish American, they have friends that are, and they'd hear them speak about the positive experiences and the great time they have in Ireland. So folks want to travel, they're keen to travel, and sometimes people just need that reason to go and that reason to travel. So folks in Northwestern are excited. And as well, you mentioned Northwestern in particular, but I do want to touch on Nebraska. So Nebraska is a state, it's got about just over 2 million folks. They don't have any big professional sports teams. Their team, the Nebraska team, is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I was lucky enough to go with Tourism Ireland and the folks from Aer Lingus to an activation for the Nebraska game in their stadium. 90,000 people sit in their stadium every time they have a home game. For the last 300 home games, it's been sold out. It's the longest run in college football history. And when they have a game, the stadium itself becomes the second largest population centre in the entire state. So these are folks who are serious about their football. And let me tell you, they're excited to come to Dublin as well. So I think we're going to have a sea of purple and red next year in Dublin in 2022. And then obviously a sea of green and gold when Notre Dame travel in 2023.
For sure. Kevin, great stuff. Thanks a million.
Thanks so much.